Well, it's Friday, so we're going to get into some more NFC North news and news from around the league. We're going to bring guys some updates, and this one, man, is a bit of a shocker or not. We're going to see what Packers fans are talking about, what the league is talking about, and dig into some articles here. But I will tell you this is the ultimate checkmate position move that Matt LaFleur just made. You are bringing in one of the best defensive-minded coaches into your team halfway through the season to now give you an extra set of eyes, not only from a head coach's perspective, but also from a defensive-minded perspective that is going to help this team win. Now, if you don't think that the NFC North is tough already and that these games between the Lions and the Packers aren't going to be crazy good, they just got a whole lot better and a whole lot harder for the Detroit Lions. So whether your position on, Coach Salah is whether you like him or you don't, or whether you think he's good or you don't, I think that we can all stand to agree here that Aaron Rodgers has twiddled his thumbs one too many times, and had, people removed from positions, or players cast away. And it hasn't always worked out to the benefit for Aaron Rodgers. And it definitely hasn't always worked out for the benefit of the respective team that he was on at that time, which would have been the Packers or now the Jets. But this is a major move. This is something that I would expect Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell to do. Like, this is the type of move here. So we're talking Terrell Williams joins the Detroit Lions, one of the best defensive minds for defensive lines. Huge move, right? That is a checkmate move. And it was paying dividends early this season. This is another move that cannot be overlooked for Lions fans. So let's start with Lombardi Avenue and hear what they're talking about here. So Matt LaFleur takes a shot at the Jets after hiring Robert Salah to the Packers staff. Article by Cameron Ellis here, written yesterday, goes in to say that Matt LaFleur got his guy. Barely 2 weeks after the New York Jets, and definitely not Aaron Rodgers, made the decision to fire head coach Robert Salah, Salah was spotted on the sidelines of Green Bay Packers practice. It's not particularly surprising. NFL coaches without jobs do this sort of thing all the time. And the two go way, way back, talking about LaFleur and Robert Salah there. The bigger question was whether Salah was joining the Packers staff in an official capacity or whether he was simply there to give advice, have someone to talk to or with all of his newfound free time. Well, the answer to that is official capacity, which has been answered when Matt LaFleur addressed the media at his usual press conference. And LaFleur also got in some more specifics of the team's plan for Salah and also managed to get a Jets barb in there as well. I did not watch the press conference, but let's kind of take some shots here, some snapshots from what this article is telling us. So Matt LaFleur took a not so subtle shot at the Jets for the firing of Robert Salah, which they misspelled Salah. You guys might want to fix that. LaFleur shed some light on Salah's role with the team and why he's returning to football so soon, while also taking a subtle dig at the Jets for their decision to move on from his close friend. Quote by Matt LaFleur is, "I think it just speaks to how much he loves the game of football. Obviously, I think it's tough when it gets kind of taken away from you. I don't think it was the right decision, but that's not for me to say." So that's the little jab that LaFleur's kind of given to the Jets. It also quietly gives more of a look into LaFleur's real opinion than one would think. In the NFL, it's basically sacrilege for coaches to question another team's coaching decisions, both good or bad. So it's telling that LaFleur feels comfortable openly criticizing the Jets' decision. Another quote by LaFleur says that we've been close for a really long time. We were roommates together back at Central Michigan. Thought it was a good idea to bring him here, and he's helping us on the offensive side of the football, which is very key for what we're going to talk about here on this video. I think that that's always good to have that perspective, that defensive perspective on that side of the ball, just taking a look at some of the things that we are doing. Let's go to Mail Online. This is not an article that I am typically reading, but they had some good things in here that I wanted to point out. Number one, LaFleur said that he's got an elite defensive mind, but that's why I want him on the offensive side so he can help us attack the defenses. I just think it speaks to how much he loves the game of football, that he is back already. Now, wild discussions on social media with fans especially intrigued that it's the Packers who Salah joined, right? So Robert Salah joining the Packers as a consultant and winning a potential Super Bowl for the Packers would be a fun little wrinkle to the Rodgers Jets era. If I have anything to say about that shit ain't happening. Okay. The Packers are not winning a Super Bowl over the Detroit Lions. Rob Demovsky says recently fired Jets head coach Robert Salah is at Packers practice. Long history between him and Matt LaFleur. Also has worked with Jeff Hafley. We'll hear from LaFleur after practice if he's hired Salah in some capacity, which obviously we know what happened here. So more of what other fans were talking about. So another one said, Robert Salah winning a Super Bowl this year with the Packers, excuse me, I got the yawns right now, while the Jets and Aaron Rodgers flounder might be the end of me. It won't be the end of me. Anytime watching Aaron Rodgers flounder about is a great day. Another fan added, there's a world where Robert Salah gets hired as a consultant for the Packers, wins the Super Bowl, and carries the Lombardi trophy through the streets of Green Bay while Aaron Rodgers watches. Something tells me that Aaron Rodgers would probably be at a dark retreat during that whole period of festivities, no matter what team wins the Super Bowl. Just saying, he's got a history there. Now, the Packers are not scheduled to play the Jets, which is probably a good thing. However, it would make the rest of the season for the Packers and Jets and all football fans, it would probably make it a little bit brighter because we would have something to look forward to. Could only imagine the looks from the sideline of Salah and Rodgers and Salah and Rodgers. I mean, it would be like the epic cat fight, that you see on the old YouTube shorts, Not really much different stuff in here. They're just talking about how Robert Salah is a defensive-minded coach and how much it's going to help the Packers offense. So where are the Lions mixed up in this? Well, I think it's pretty simple. The Lions have a tough task. They're down quite a bit, on the defensive side of the ball. And they do have the Packers in 2 weeks or 2 games from now, not this weekend, but next weekend. And they're also missing Jameson Williams for that game. So where Salah is going to help the offense is identifying what defenses are going to pay attention to and finding the holes, if you will. That's probably what Salah's job is going to be here. He's going to find the deficiencies. He's going to point out what the offense can do to be more efficient, how they can leverage certain defenses. I mean, you have a guy that is at the top of the list when it comes to defensive minds. So he's going to be able to look at all the different defensive schemes out there. You now have another guy added to your team that is already going to start working on the Detroit game and get as much information, ready to go for LaFleur for this first game here in about 10 days. And that's huge. To have another key piece on your team that knows so much about defenses, this is not good. It's not good for anybody in the NFC North. It is not good for, a Packers team that just somehow finds a way to win. This is a checkmate move. They are going all in on this season. The Packers firmly believe that they can win a Super Bowl, and they firmly believe that they're going to be the better team in the NFC North. Now, they're right there with us, right? The Vikings just had a 2-loss slide. Not good for them, but who cares, right? I mean, they just lost 2 games in a row. So now it's between the Lions and the Packers. And the Lions are edging out the Packers right now, and that game next week is going to be a deciding factor. So I said it at the beginning of the season that the dogfight was going to come between the Packers and the Lions, and I felt that the Packers were going to keep it close until about week 15 of this season. It may now go all the way to week 18. It just might. It may go down to the last game in Minnesota, in the last game for the Packers, to figure out who is going to win the North crown. Now, you notice how I'm not talking about the Bears. I think the Bears are too dysfunctional that they're not going to put it all together at the right time. Next year, I think the Bears are going to be hanging, potentially, depending on what happens to their roster. And I'm actually glad that they didn't snag Robert Salah for their defensive coordinator position or, some sort of a defensive assistant or whatever, because that is a defense that, if they have the right minds, can be very difficult. Why didn't the Lions consider this? And does Matt LaFleur not consider the fact that you bring in another head coach into your team? And so if you really falter this season, if you get bad advice from Salah and he makes you look really stupid, that maybe he won't be up for taking your job? Matt LaFleur feels that confident that no matter what he does, he's safe. It also speaks volumes to the size of nuts this guy has. You're bringing in competition for your job into your home. Now you're leveraging his knowledge, right? You're utilizing what he can bring to the table, and you hope it all goes for the best. But we'll see soon enough. Checkmate move by the Packers and Matt LaFleur, bringing in Robert Salah, making the lives difficult for the Detroit Lions. And Dan Campbell is going to have a very tall task now, trying to beat out the rest of these minds in the NFL. And there's some great minds in the NFL, and the Lions definitely have a room full of extremely good minds. But this just made these games a whole heck of a lot more interesting. And to be honest with you, I feel like this gives the Packers a little bit of an edge here in the coaching tree. I think that they have a few things working for them right now that we'll see where it goes. We'll start with this weekend and we'll see where it goes. Obviously coming in, to practice on Wednesday doesn't give them a lot of time to work together, but these guys are always prepared. I mean, Salah's got a book on all of these teams. They've done their research on every team out there. And the one thing I did not look at was, the Packers' schedule. They're going to be taking on the Jags of all teams this weekend. Not much probably needed, but did the Jets? Did they already go up against the Jags? Do they play the Jags this season? I don't really remember. So let me just take a quick look. Oh yeah, they had the Jags on December 15th. So he's already got a book on them. He's already got a book on them, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, guys. But good move by the Packers. Got to give them a hand here. They really did a good job by, one, pissing off Aaron Rodgers, and two, bringing in another great defensive coach. But you know how I feel. Lions win, Lions win, Lions win. Go Lions, go One Pride. You ain't going to slow us down. We're coming for you. Take care, guys.